What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the UFC Fight Night 125 post-fight show. My name is Flying Brian J. Thank you so very much for joining me. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And as always, I do not have a real co-host, so you guys are going to be filling in as my co-host. And my first question to you is, what post-fight rating would you give this card top to bottom? I'm talking every single fight, all 11 of them. But if you didn't watch all of the fights, just tell me what post-fight rating you would give the ones you did watch. 1 to 5, A to F. If you're going to tell me a rating, just tell me what it was out of. So in the pre-fight show, I gave the post-fight rating a 2.4 out of 5, and you guys gave it a 2.6 out of 5. Did it exceed your expectations, or was it a little bit lower than your expectations? Jinok Genesis is here. His real name is Willie Walter Cronkite White. And he thinks that Thug Rose is pretty neat. Anywho, I'm gonna give my post-fight rating. I would give it a B minus. So from A to F, that's like what? A 3.25 on a 1 to 5 scale. So yeah, I'm comfortable with a 3.75. The reason being, a lot of you, I'm going to suspect, didn't like the main event. Lyoto the Dragon Machida, he has a way about him that sometimes his fights aren't all that exciting, but because I'm a big Lyoto Machida fan, my heart was in my throat the entire time. For 25 minutes, my heart was racing a little bit. I was nervous that the Dragon was going to get put to sleep by somebody who... I mean, Eric Anders, one day he'll have a name in the sport, and he obviously has a real name, but he's a no-name in the UFC right now. Casual fans do not know who the fuck Eric Anders is. So I was worried about Lyoto Machida. But Lyoto ended up picking the split decision victory over Eric Anders. It was he got 149 to 46. The official decision was 48-47, 47-48. One of them gave it to Anders, and 49-46 in favor of Lyoto. I know a lot of you are going to come in and say that home cooking and everything for Lyoto, but I think that Lyoto lulls people into a sense of security. He lulls them into sleep a little bit. Let's go over round by round, talk about the main event quickly, and then we're going to get into talking about the post-fight rankings for the hashtag Fight Nerds, the MMA Mania UFC Pick'em group, where we landed in that. Also, I want to talk about how, if you were to blanket bet the underdogs, how that went tonight. So first round, Lyoto outlanded ya boy 13 to 9. Second round, Lyoto outlanded ya boy 14 to 6. Third round, Lyoto outlanded ya boy 10 to 9. Fourth round, 10 to 6. Again in favor of the Dragon. Fifth round, 13 to 9. Yes, your boy did land the harder strikes, but you had to expect that your boy was going to need to do more than he did in order to get the decision in Brazil, because we saw some fights earlier in the night where Brazil was getting a little bit of a nod in favor of the hometown guys in the decisions. And then if you just look at the pure stats, what I told you, there's that. Then Anders had the aggression. Sure, he landed the harder strikes at times. I mean, absolutely. But at the same time, I feel like Anders lost this fight a little bit for himself. It felt to me as though if Anders would have just opened up and just went at Machida guns a-blazing, he could have got it. He touched Machida with the left hand a couple times, seemed to hurt Machida. He hit Machida in the nose with a knee against the fence a couple times. Obviously, it opened up a huge gash. It was on the left side of Machida's eyebrow. But still, Anders just walked forward, not doing a terrible amount of anything, and Lyoto chewed up his lead leg a little bit and countered Anders. So sure, I'm partial. I know sometimes you come here for a journalistic approach, purely unbiased recaps of the action, but I'm a sucker for these aging Brazilians. My #1 favorite fighter is Anderson the Spider Silva. I like Lyoto the Dragon Machida, so I was rooting for him here, and so I leaned giving him some rounds. And he got the victory. What's next for Lyoto Machida? In the post-fight, Paul the Irish Dragon Felder, who earlier in the night, Paul said one of the reasons why his nickname is the Irish Dragon is because of Lyoto Machida. He said he saw Lyoto Machida have success with the karate style in mixed martial arts, decided to try to use his karate background, his kickboxing background in mixed martial arts, and he had success with it. And so that's why they gave him the nickname the Irish Dragon. That's a fun fact. I loved learning that tonight. Anyway, in the post-fight, Michael the Count Bisping, what the hell? Paul Felder asked Machida who he wanted, and Machida said, Michael Bisping, I'm here for you. And I think that's fantastic. Both guys could retire off of a Michael Bisping fight with Lyoto the Dragon Machida. I thought it would be perfect for a rematch with Vitor Belfort and Bisping. Bisping said he didn't want it because he doesn't like Vitor. Maybe he likes Lyoto Machida, and that's a fight I would like to see. Both guys are washed up. And Chad Cheeseman in the comments here is... What's up, Chad? Thanks for kicking it, buddy. What's up, Doug Rowland? Chad was saying that Anders isn't that good. He couldn't take out an aging Machida. Well, he was kind of rushed into this. Machida's his last 3 losses are to Luke Rockhold, Yoel Romero, and Brunson. So Anders, he just made his debut not long ago. He just rushed in here, and he didn't look terrible against Machida. I still have high hopes for the potential of Eric Anders. He's a physical specimen. He's super athletic. He got hit by some pretty good shots tonight. He's durable. He's got a lot to learn, but I have high hopes for him. I don't think he's going anywhere. I'd like to see him fight somebody else in the fringe top 15 next, and Machida, like I said, against Michael the Count Bisping. Now let's go over the UFC Pick'em results. Then we're going to go over if you were to blanket bet the underdogs. And then we're going to get into some WTFs of the card. So in the UFC Pick'em, in first place, got 8 out of 11 right, was Mattis Dagas with 2,305 points, 2,305 points. Second place, tied for first was Bai Hu, 9 for 11, but same amount of points. Third place was 007, 7 for 11. It's interesting. And tied for fourth place was Just One Belt, 8 out of 11. And Flying Brian J. I finally cracked the top 5 this year in the UFC Pick'em League, so that makes me feel really damn good. Justin Riddle was not impressed by the card. So Justin, what post-fight rating would you give the card then? Let's go over overall right now on the UFC Pick'em League. Jack Mooney is in first place. Just One Belt is in second place. Steve Indigo is in third. Bai Hu is in fourth. And Mowgli is in fifth place. Now, if you haven't already, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about if you were to have blanket bet the underdogs on this card. When, who was it? When Desmond Green lost to Michel Prazeres in the third fight from the top of the evening, I thought certainly the blanket bet was not going to work out because at that point I think we were down 0.8 units. And then, because I thought certainly Priscilla Cachoeira is not going to beat Valentina Bullet Shevchenko. And she didn't. No, Bullet tore through her like a hot knife through air. Fucking air. But then Lyoto Machida came through as a plus 235 underdog. And if you would have bet $1 on every single underdog on this fight card 1 hour before the fight card started on 5 dimes, you would have came out plus 2.15 units on the night. So now, stats for so far this year, if you would have bet every single underdog 1 hour before the fight card started on every fight card so far this year in the UFC, so there's been 4 fight cards, you would be up 1.29 units. Insane. Insane to me that, you know, you could have no recollection or no knowledge at all about who's fighting and blanket bet the underdogs and you'd be up 1.29 units so far this year. Insane to me. Now, WTF of the card. Justin's talking about Valentina versus Cachoeira. One of the WTFs has got to go to Mario Yamasaki for not stopping the fight when Valentina got Cachoeira. Well, how are they saying her last name? Anyway, Valentina got Priscilla Cachoeira in the crucifix mount on multiple occasions and was raining down elbows on her face, and Mario Yamasaki didn't stop it. I think I clicked out of the stat. Son of a bitch. I think Valentina landed 217 strikes to Cachoeira's one. One single strike Cachoeira landed, and Mario Yamasaki let this fight go on for 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Where finally, it was Valentina Shevchenko who decided to have mercy on Priscilla Cachoeira, and when she sunk in a rear naked choke. From the very beginning, Valentina was hitting Priscilla Cachoeira with counter shots. She hit Cachoeira on the face a couple of times with lefts. And Cachoeira just had nothing for Shevchenko. In the post-fight interview, Shevchenko said that she wants Nico Montano next. Do you guys think that Nico Montano has a chance in hell against Valentina Shevchenko? Because I don't. I don't. Look, I like the Happy Warrior. What the hell? I blank a lot. My memory's not the best. What the fuck is her name? Roxanne Modafferi. How did I forget that? So, Nico Montano had a tough fight with Roxanne Modafferi. And no disrespect to Roxanne, I like her. She's a funny person. I like her personality. You know, all that jazz. But, I mean, Valentina's going to cut through Nico Montano. Maybe not as easy as she did against Cachoeira, but what the fuck? Why do we even have Nico Montano as the women's flyweight champion? Next WTF of the card could go to Michel Prazeres for, as Justin Riddle said, he weighed in, he looked heavy as fuck tonight. What the fuck? Why did Desmond Green take that fight? I do not know. One WTF that really isn't the WTF of the card, but I want to mention it, is if you were watching on Fox Sports 1 tonight, when they would go to one camera, the cameraman was having trouble focusing his lens. Like, what the fuck? Pull it together. So that's one WTF of the card. What I had my idea for the real WTF of the card. I think that it has to go to Mario Yamasaki again. Yeah. Also, it could go to Douglas Silva de Andrade's like mullet mohawk thing. What the fuck? Anyway. Hamza Aman, Valentina with Mahler. Doug Rowland says, hashtag bullet, hashtag and new. I know we barely talked about the main event with Lyoto Machida, but I don't feel like there's too much we need to say there. Lyoto Machida's aging. He's going to fight Bisping Anders. He's actually 31 years old, so he's not that young of a prospect. But he's got a lot of potential. He's not going anywhere. Co-main event, Valentina, I mean, what is there to say? She got in tight, got double underhooks, got an inside trip takedown, and then just flowed all over Cachoeira. And Valentina said that she thinks Priscilla has potential to do something. She just needs to keep training hard and everything. That was nice of Valentina to say and everything, but merp, basically. Before that, Michel Prazeres, Desmond Green. Saul Nivas, Lyoto the Dragon Machida defeated Eric Anders in the main event of the evening. Prazeres basically got the better. Oh, one WTF. I forgot this. Michel Prazeres had Desmond Green, you know, in like kind of a referee's position, but more like over his shoulders, and was hitting him with some ground and pound strikes. And because of Desmond Green's cornrows, not cornrows. Wow, I blank hard sometimes, guys. Machida ran like a pro, says Nicholas E. No, Machida's gonna fight Michael the Count Bisping. Dreadlocks. Desmond Green's dreadlocks like covered his whole head like a mop, right? And so Michel Prazeres was trying to get him with some ground and pound, you know, targeting the ear, but he couldn't see his fucking ear. And then referee Mark Goddard like stepped in, stopped the action, took away the position, and stood him back up because Prazeres like couldn't see, because he warned him once, and then Prazeres kept doing it. Later on in the fight, same thing happened. How could you possibly see his ear? Anyway, Desmond Green got a couple of takedowns of his own on Prazeres, but Prazeres was able to switch position. Prazeres basically got the better of Desmond Green with the grappling. He attempted a north-south choke. I think it was in the first round. He almost got his third north-south choke victory in a row. But Michel Prazeres definitely deserved that victory. 30-27 across the board. Justin Riddle just was not impressed with this entire fight card. Moving down, Timothy Johnson versus Marcelo Golm. I know you guys said this fight wasn't that exciting, but maybe it's because you know what? Why are the viewer stats not working? Viewer stats should be working. I mean, we got viewers, right? Anyway, so because I blanket bet the underdogs, and I really wanted Timothy Johnson to come in as the underdog, up until the point where Timothy Johnson defeated Marcelo Golm via decision, the Brazilians had been running train on the visitors. And I was on the edge of my seat a little bit because when they were at space, it seemed like Timothy Johnson could get hurt and wobbled at any moment. But he was able to fight through it, get in the clinch after landing some big strikes of his own. For most of the fight, though, as Hamza Aman says, the fight wasn't that exciting. Where's my viewer count? Viewer count. Copy. All right. Let me get this fixed. And most of this card was like the fights were not significant. What's next for Timothy Johnson? Who the hell knows? He's never going to be a top 10 heavyweight, top 5, top 6 heavyweight. So what's next for him? I don't really know. What's next for Marcelo Golm? I don't know, man. He's a big dude, and they kept talking about how he was this big dude. But Timothy Johnson was basically able to lean on him. I would say some strength and conditioning for Golm would be better. Rob Amon says Johnson versus Arlovsky, Struve winner. I suppose I'd watch that. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Hopefully Struve beats Arlovsky, right? I suppose I would watch Timothy Johnson versus Stefan the Skyscraper Struve. Chad Cheeseman, the Tim Johnson clearly won this fight. Schooled him. Yeah, absolutely schooled him. There were times when I thought Tim Johnson could just stay at a distance, and he kept landing big punches, like a couple of lefts, and then a right would snap the head back of Golm. But instead of like staying at a distance and deciding to KO him, Tim Johnson went with the safe route, pushed him up against the fence, just kind of grinded on him, kneed him to the thigh a whole bunch of times. And a little bit, yes, it was boring, guys. But at the same time, Tim Johnson fought that baby-faced fella not long ago, Junior Albini, and got tooled up on the feet against a young striker that was Brazilian, and here he was in back-to-back fights facing another young striking Brazilian. So you could understand his hesitancy, or why he was hesitant to stay at a distance with Golm. So he went with the safe route. Nicholas E is saying that from the main event, we're going back a little bit. He says there's no way that Lyoto Machida won 4 rounds. I gave 1 and 2 to Machida and then 5 to Machida. I didn't see, when I heard 4-1, I thought it was going to be Anders, because I was looking at the media scores from like whoever was running the MMA fighting account, who was ever running the Bloody Elbow account. I think it was MMA Fighting, MMA Fighting scored it for Machida, I believe. But somebody I saw gave it 4-1. It was 3-1 going into the 5th for Anders, and I thought that, if it was going to be a 4-1, it was going to be on Anders' side, but yeah, it just didn't turn out that way. And it definitely wasn't a robbery. We've talked about robberies before, and this one was not that. It was a close fight. I read the stats already, and Machida did outland Anders every single round. Anders, he did have the harder strikes, But, I mean, it was close. It was a really tight fight. Would you go with the volume of Machida, the power of Anders? Hometown? Anders mostly just followed him? Yeah. It was not a robbery. It was just really, really close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5 finishes, so that's pretty good on a fight card, right? When you're looking back at a fight card, if you just, even if you can't remember like each individual action from each fight, you can just look at the number of finishes and think about how good a fight card it was. You know, like, what was it, UFC 219 had like 2 finishes, bollocks. Horrible. This had 5, so almost 50% were finishes. And at least Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Marlon Chito Vera was a fantastic fight, so, you know. Your boy stiff as fuck, says Chad. The main event was not action-packed, I get it. But I really liked that Lyoto Machida got a victory. Yeah, hometown is the key point, Nicholas. And you could understand that. At least we had 10 other fights to be able to know what was going to happen. Because it was Sergio Moraes versus Tim Means. Like, I thought it was clearly Tim Means' fight. But somehow they gave it to Sergio Moraes. And that was more clear for me, the Tim Means, than the main event was for Anders. So you had to have known it was going to go to Lyoto Machida. And Rob Amon, yes, absolutely. Machida versus Michael Bisping, that's got to be what happens next, right? Has to be 100%. So move down. Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Marlon Chito Vera. Douglas Silva de Andrade, he was hitting harder. He was hitting more often. And Marlon Vera, even though he had the lengthier striking techniques, his like front kicks to the body of Douglas Silva de Andrade and the long single shots from Vera were not enough to keep Andrade off of him. And then Andrade just powered through them and did a lot of good ripping hooks to the body, spinning back fist attempts. And it was pretty back and forth. Going into the 3rd round, Vera's corner told him, look, man, you lost the first 2 rounds. We need a fucking finish from you. You need to turn it up right now. And at the very beginning of the 3rd round, Vera did turn it up. And he was mixing in his shots really well. He was putting some big power on Andrade. And Andrade was fading a bit. And back and forth, had ebbs and flows in that 3rd round. And for me, we're going to give our post-fight bonuses in a little bit. But I think Silva de Andrade versus Vera was easily the fight of the night. Lee Wilmot. Machida was a champ a billion years ago. Give the Brit some respect. He was just champion. He was just champion. Yeah. De Andrade versus Vera was... And honestly, I was a bit distracted at that time. Doing some other things. But it was definitely the best fight of the night. So, how long have we been talking, guys? One thing that would give me why I would give this post-fight rating lower than it even deserves is because it's 109 my time. 109 my time. So East Coast, it is 209. What the fuck? The co-main event didn't even start until Sunday on East Coast time. What the fuck? That might be my official WTF of the card. See how Prazeres does at welterweight? Isn't it crazy how Prazeres is like 4'11", 185 pounds? I'm exaggerating, but Jesus. He's 5'6", and he weighed in at 161 pounds today. Nuts to me. That's just nuts. Let's give out our post-fight bonuses right after we talk about Thiago Santos versus Anthony Lionheart Smith. So it was what was Brendan Fitzgerald and Paul the Irish Dragon Felder were the commentators, right? And as they were saying that Thiago Santos has really good spinning kicks, Santos hit Smith with a spinning kick to the face that just Smith basically just ate, backed up a little bit, dropped his hands, was dazed. Then Santos hit him with a high kick. Again, Smith ate it. Smith was able to get a takedown, got full mounted Thiago Santos, but Thiago Santos switched position, got into the guard of Smith, was working some elbows, working ground and pound. Smith was holding Santos' posture down pretty well, but he basically just survived until the second round. The second round came out, and Thiago Santos, he'd already damaged Smith quite a bit, and Smith looked dejected on his corner between rounds. Nicholas, I'll be here for every fight card, and like we go back and forth between Mania's Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Anyway, so second round, Thiago Santos came out and he got a liver kick on Smith. As I mentioned, Smith was already dejected after the first round. He'd taken a lot of damage, and it looked like inevitable that Santos was going to get that victory, but a liver kick sent Smith down. He tried to get a takedown attempt on Santos. Santos defended well, got him with some really hard ground and pound shots. Smith didn't want to give up. He didn't want to concede defeat, but he'd taken a lot of punishment, and the referee had to call a stop to the action. I gave my letter grade, or my rating for the card, I gave it a 3.25, I think it was. Did I say 3.75? A B minus. I was trying to like convert a B minus to a letter grade, and I think it'd be a 3.25. Maybe 3.75. I think it's 3.75. Anyway, I'm running in circles. I liked the fight card. I liked that Lyoto Machida got that victory. I know it wasn't the most exciting fight, but because I had some emotional investment in the fight. My heart was racing the entire time. We had good finishes by Shevchenko. Fantastic fight from Silva de Andrade versus Vera. Fun, like, round for Santos versus Smith, and then a fun finish for Santos. Polyana Viana, good rear naked choke. Iri Alcantara with the TKO early on. Davison Figueiredo versus Joseph Morales was a lot of fun for me. Yeah, I've given it a B minus. My post-fight letter grade was that. And my post-fight bonuses, let's see, what are you guys talking about? Smith put up a hell of a fight. Hamza Aman, he did indeed. Santos, fight of the night, says Cheeseman. I'm going to give Santos a performance bonus. Ooh, let's go to... Oh, I got to pull up a picture. Hold on, guys. 1 second. Okay. Pull this over here. So, post-fight bonuses... For the people that were here, the guesses were Vladimir Velev says Anders was going to get the KO bonus. Chad Cheeseman says that. Did you say who was going to get the performance bonus? Anyway, Sandro Nellis said Anders and Valentina Shevchenko were going to get performance bonuses. Fred Kari said Santos and Smith is going to be fight of the night. Anders was going to get a performance bonus, and then somebody with a brutal KO or upset was going to get another bonus. Vitor Gonçalves said, oh, he was just saying hello from Brazil. Danny G said Thiago Santos versus Anthony Smith is going to be fight of the night. Anyway, I'm going to give fight of the night to Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Vera. Performance bonuses are going to go to... I don't think Valentina needs it. She was a minus 900 favorite. That was expected of her to do that. So I'm not giving one to Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going to give performance bonus to Thiago Santos. And then I'm going to give performance bonus to Davison Figueiredo. And maybe Yuri Alcantara. Maybe Anthony Smith should fight Anders next. I kind of like that, Rob Amon. But Smith might be out for a while, and Anders could probably go again soon. Call Lil Wayne a friend. What up, Mega Horbs? Tim Means will likely fight somebody near the cut line next. Yeah, absolutely. Rob Amon's all about cutting people. He's always like, get him out here, get him out here, get him out here. That's Rob's deal. I like having Rob around. He keeps people in check. What post-fight bonuses would you guys give? Again, I'm going Silva de Andrade versus Vera for fight of the night. Thiago Santos for his TKO of Anthony Smith, performance bonus, and then I'm gonna give one to Davison Figueiredo for a poop emoji bonus to Mario Yamasaki, says Rob Amon. Quickly, guys, let me check the Twitter machine and see if I can find the real post-fight bonuses, and then we'll think about talking about some of the other fights if you guys want to. The reason why I'm rushing a bit, And I apologize. I know Nicholas is new here, so kind of sucks that I'm rushing a bit. But like I said, it's super late here, man. I got up at like 8 o'clock today. Post-fight bonuses. Where are we at with this? Okay, performance bonuses go to Shevchenko and Alcantara. Fight of the night, Anthony Smith versus Thiago Santos. I'm super happy about that. I'm happy that Santos and Smith got the fight of the night bonus, which, gosh darn it, a lot of you were correct on fight of the night. Congratulations to you guys. Wow. I'm happy about that because Anthony Smith is from Nebraska. He's from a small town near where my fiance's from. Nebraska doesn't have a lot going for it. So whenever somebody does anything in the world that's from Nebraska, I'm like, yay, Nebraska! We got a reason to celebrate a little bit. So that's awesome. And then I didn't do it yet, but I'm going to do it right now. Most of the time, guys, I give out a 5th performance bonus. Like you know, I give them my 2 performance bonuses and then the fight of the night. So I'm giving out a 5th 50K because I don't actually have any money to give anybody, but because it's my show, I can give out whatever I want. I'm giving an extra $50,000 to Davison Figueiredo for his TKO of Joseph Morales in the curtain jerker. One of the reasons why I would give it to him is these guys that are lower on the card. I mean, how much money did Davison Figueiredo get paid tonight to be there? 20K, 30K? He might still, you know, this could help him. He's got a lot of potential. An extra $50,000 could help him become like a future contender in the flyweight division. He showed some good skills tonight. Maybe someday he could challenge somebody like Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. So extra 50K going to Davison Figueiredo. I see that Dana White is ripping into Mario Yamasaki on Twitter right now. Sad part is Dana White blocked me on Twitter. Do you remember when Dana White pulled Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz because Conor didn't want to do media? After he pulled that, I was like, I tagged Dana. I said, that's the fight we want, Dana. Make it happen. I got like 255 likes on it, and Dana White blocked me. And he hasn't unblocked me, so kind of shitty. Total attendance tonight was 10,144 people. One of my favorite things about tonight was that the crowd, even if you didn't want the Brazilians to win, the crowd was a lot of fun. They were, "Au, vamos ver, au, vamos ver." And when Mark Goddard intervened in Michel Prazeres versus Desmond Green, the crowd started to chant, "Fuck you, referee," or "Go fuck yourself, referee," or something. Hilarious. They were loud from the jump, from the very first fight of the night. Brazilian fighters had a lot of success, and for me at least, the crowd plays in a little bit into my enjoyment of the fight card, and the crowd tonight was fantastic. What can I use the Mania account for, Hamza? To give out bonuses? Just have Mania pay for a bonus? That'd be sweet, right? Rob, is that legitimate? I'm not seeing that on my news feed. The UFC representative that is in Brazil says that the UFC is trying to rebook John the Magician Dodson versus Pedro the Young Punisher Munoz for UFC 222 in March. I'm not seeing information on if Frankie Edgar will fight Brian Ortega for an interim belt. Yeah. Let's see. Do we need to cover any more of these fights? I don't really think so. Alan Patrick defeated Damir Hadzovic in one of the early prelims via unanimous decision, 30-25, 30-27, 30-27. It was rather boring. Alan Patrick basically just controlled Damir Hadzovic on the ground. One thing that I forgot to mention was it was evidently so hot in that arena that people were like sweating. Paul Felder said he was sweating just in his suit, cage side. That's not ideal. Why is it always so hot in Brazil? Do they not have air conditioners in these venues? Anywho, Alan Patrick tried some submission attempts on Damir Hadzovic, but because they were so slippery and sweaty, he couldn't sink one in. But after Alan Patrick controlled Damir for 15 minutes, basically, he asked for a post-fight bonus. You don't get a post-fight bonus for just controlling your opponent for 15 minutes, Alan Patrick. Sorry, brother. But also a WTF. We just got tons of WTFs. It's my favorite part. Alan Patrick said that he doesn't own a house. He said he didn't necessarily say he was homeless, but he said to Dana, "Give me $50K so I can have a home." What? Seems nuts, doesn't it? Let's just run through the rest of the results. I said Sergio Moraes defeated Tim Means via split decision. Moraes was hitting Means with the bigger shots. Tim Means was landing more shots. Before that, Poliana Viana defeated Maya Stevenson via rear naked choke at 350 of the first round. Poliana Viana just destroyed Maya Stevenson. It was ugly. Before that, Yuri Alcantara hurt Joe Soto to the body. Then just waylaid on him against the fence there. It was a weird stoppage. The referee was like, it was some ground and pound. The referee was like, I'm going to stop it. I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to stop it. I'm not going to stop it. And then, like, he decided to stop it. And Joe Soto had already eaten some, 7 unnecessary strikes. Well, before that, Davison Figueiredo beat Joseph Morales in all areas of the fight. He looked really well-rounded. Good on the ground with ground and pound. Good on the feet. Big shots. And he has now, the majority of his victories are via knockout. So he's got to watch. Thoughts on the main event of UFC 222, Holloway pulled out. What is, the co-main, right? Let's look at the card. Right now, UFC 222, oh my God, guys. Right now, as it stands, the main event of UFC 222 is Stefan Struve versus Andrei Arlovsky. Before that is CB Dollaway versus Hector Lombard. Before that, Ashley Yoder versus Mackenzie Dern. Oh my God, that's awful. What a terrible card. What a terrible card. Great debut by Vienna. Oh, that's right, you don't give a fuck. Well, I said if you, I don't know, are you being really mean? Dave W? In the pre-fight show, I have to give ratings on, if I know them. I'd never heard of Poliana Viana before. I'd not heard of Maya Stevenson. I did not watch that season of The Ultimate Fighter. So, didn't know who either girl was. But yeah, incredibly impressive performance by Poliana Viana. Let's move her. How about this? Let's have Poliana Viana. Her name is fun to say, at least. Let's have her fight last week's blonde fighter. Blonde fighter. The Kya person. Let's have her fight Caitlin Chukagian next. Timeline matches up. Flyweight division. From the looks of it, Poliana Viana, might be able to hang with Caitlin Chukagian. I think it just makes sense. What do you think? Poliana Viana versus Caitlin Chukagian next? Rob Amon says that UFC 222 should get rebranded as a fight night. I don't know if the UFC has ever done that. Thank you for being here, Justin Riddle. I appreciate you. I don't know if the UFC has ever turned a pay-per-view into a fight night. They're probably scrambling to get a new main event. Like Rob is saying, they might try to book. And interim titles are getting out of hand, but they might try to book Ortega versus Frankie Edgar for the interim belt just to save that pay-per-view a little bit. So they can put a belt on the top of it. Otherwise, that fight card is not looking very good. And you don't have somebody like Anderson Silva anymore who's a big draw who can say, you know what, I'll take some shitty light heavyweight on 6 days' notice. You know, Anderson Silva versus Stefan Struve, like at UFC 158, was it? Something like that. They also, yeah, you're right, Hamza Aman. They tried to get Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw for UFC 222, but TJ Dillashaw said that he's not taking the fight on 4 weeks' notice. He's got a new baby. He's not in camp right now, and he doesn't think that Garbrandt deserves the rematch. And TJ is focused on the fight with Demetrius Johnson. I say, yeah, I want to save TJ Dillashaw for Mighty Mouse, and give Garbrandt somebody else in the main event. Garbrandt's a draw, isn't he? He's fun to watch. What do you think, Dave W? Yeah, super fight's got to happen. But UFC 222, I do like Kat Zingano versus Ketlin Vieira. I like Sean O'Malley versus Andre Sukumtat. I like Brian Kid Lightning Caraway versus Cody Stamen. Benyil Dariush versus Bobby King Green. Who doesn't love that? UFC 196 was like one of the greatest cards ever. Rob, you just trying to pull a fast one on me? You silly bastard. You ain't gonna pull that one. I mean, Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz is a very memorable night of fights. In no way in hell is Conor McGregor, you know, maybe that one time in Boston. But after that, he's not going to be on free TV. I don't think there's too much more we need to talk about, guys. Next week, we've got Yoel, the Soldier of God, Romero versus Luke Rockhold in the main event of the evening for the interim middleweight championship of the world. Who are you guys picking off the top of your head between Romero and Rockhold? I'm picking Romero a little bit because I'm a Romero fan. A little bit because Luke Rockhold looked really slow in the stand-up against David Branch. And if he's that slow in the stand-up against Branch, I think Romero should be able to should be able to put some big punches on Rockhold. And then Rockhold's easiest path to victory is to get his opponent to the ground and pound, jiu-jitsu them into submission, of course. He's very flowy. He's very precise with his grappling. But Romero is a guy who does not get controlled on the canvas, who, as Hamza Aman says, is too explosive, and Luke does not have the best chin. Also, so I'm picking Romero. I'm hoping that Romero wins. Are the odds out yet for that fight? We might as well check it while we're here, guys. Chad Cheeseman's picking Rockhold. Romero is the underdog on 5 dimes, but Romero is a minus 180 on Bet DSI. Whoa. Plus 125 on 5 dimes for Romero. Minus 180 on Bet DSI for Romero. That's crazy. Dave W says he hopes Luke wins, but Romero is so explosive anything could happen. That's why, like, they said tonight on the broadcast that Luke Rockhold, all of his UFC fights have been finishes. All of them. Win or lose, finish. And that is 100% true. You gotta love a guy that's part of finishes. And then Romero, no matter if Mega Horbs communism steroids for the win. No matter if Romero's down 4 rounds, he's always a threat to finish the fight. You know, he was losing. Nah, he wasn't losing against Weidman, but it was a very close fight. It was 1-1, I think, against Weidman going into the third, and then just wham, flying knee for the finish. Amazing. I love watching Yoel Romero fight because, you know, he could just be doing his dancing thing. All of a sudden, bam, fight's over, and you just. People that provide action that literally is don't blink, like Romero. I absolutely love it. And then Rockhold, I love his inverted triangle choke over Tim Bosch. His long body kick. Fun shit. I love it. I'm almost more excited for this than I would have been for Rockhold versus Whitaker. Because if not for Whitaker pulling out, we may have never been able to watch Romero versus Rockhold. So even though it's for an interim belt, I, for one, love it. Because we get to see this matchup. And do we believe that either guy is actually the best in the world? No, especially if Romero wins, because he just lost to Bobby Knuckles. But still, it's a fun matchup. And I think it could headline any card ever. Really enjoy it. Is Rob Amon just filling us full of shit, guys? Oh my God. Rob Amon was not lying to us. Holy shit. Rob Amon was not kidding. UFC 196 was originally not McGregor versus Diaz. Wikipedia background. The event, originally billed as UFC 196, was scheduled to be headlined by a heavyweight championship rematch between current champion at the time Fabricio Vicavalo Verdum and former two-time champion Cain Velasquez. As a series of events eventually led to the main event shuffle on January 24th. 13 days before the event, Velasquez pulled out of the bout due to a back injury and was replaced by Stipe Miocic. On the day following, Verdum announced that he was pulling out of the event due to injury and he wasn't comfortable with the opponent change while dealing with injuries of his own. And on January 26th, President Dana White announced that the company was canceling the pay-per-view broadcast. Therefore, UFC 196 became UFC Fight Night 82. Wow. Wow. Thanks, Rob. I did not know that. Totally forgot all about that. Let's hope they do that with UFC 222. How do I think Romero will go up against Luke Rockhold's size advantage? It's not like Romero has not dealt with somebody that, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. You know, just off the top of my head. Let's look at the size advantage. Go to the schedule, upcoming events. Luke Rockhold is 3 inches taller than Romero and has a 4-inch reach advantage with the arms and a 3-inch reach advantage with the legs. Romero is so explosive that he can jump. He closes distance so fast, and Rockhold leans away from, like he drops his, like he jabs, and when he jabs, he will lean away. When he does that, Romero should be able to close the distance on him. I don't think that the size advantage from Luke Rockhold is going to be that big of a deal for Yoel Romero. But at the same time, Romero is severely aging. Romero is 40 years old. That's obviously way past the physical prime, and Luke Rockhold is 33 years old. We have to take into consideration Yoel Romero fighting in a 5-round main event again. He definitely slowed down against Bobby Knuckles. He has slowed down in 3-round fights before, but his explosivity is still there. It's a super fun fight. Super fun fight. I hope, as Rob says, I hope that they do that with UFC 222. The rest of the card for UFC 222, we can just talk about it real quickly. Co-main event is Mark the Super Samoan Hunt versus Curtis Razor Blades. Mark Hunt does not have very good takedown defense. Curtis Blades has really good takedowns. Live Hamza, do you mean like during the main card portion? It's not like I'm not required to do it, but if you think that it's a good idea, I could do that. Yeah, I'm not gonna peg it down right now that I will do live commentary for UFC 221, the main card portion, but I will definitely message my boss in the morning and put that bug in his ear. They might not, because he wants me to do that for really big pay-per-views, and this one's not that big, but I'll put the bug in his ear. Heavyweight Tai Tuivasa versus Cyril Asker. That's a main card fight. What? Jake Matthews versus Li Jingliang. I mean, is that main card worthy? Light heavyweight Tyson Pedro versus Saperbek Safarov. Is that really main event? I like Tyson Pedro. I like his potential. And Saperbek Safarov should be an easy win for Tyson Pedro. But is that, I don't know. Damian Brown versus Dong-Young Kim, the Maestro. Like that fight. Rob Wilkinson versus Israel Adesanya. I don't remember him. Oh, he's never fought in the UFC, but he has a Wikipedia page. He's got a knockout victory over Melvin Gillard. Before that, Jeremy JBC Kennedy versus Alexander Volkanovski. Ooh, Volkanovski's going to probably tear Kennedy up. Jussier Formiga versus Ben 10 Wen. That's a solid fight. Really looking forward to that fight. And the rest of them, yada yada. Andrew Whitelaw, what do you think of Dana's dressing down of Mario on Instagram? Mario Yamasaki, I'm assuming. I was going to pull it up my phone because that's the only way I can post. Hey guys, follow MMA Mania on Instagram. It's at MMAmania.com. I run it. That's why I'm asking you to do that. Let's look up, we'll just see what Dana White said real quick. And then I'm going to get out of here shortly, guys. Okay, Dana White's post is a picture of Valentina landing a left-hand shot on Priscilla Cachoeira. Dana White says, Priscilla Cachoeira, you showed so much heart and toughness in that fight. I'm honored to have you fight in the UFC. Unfortunately, the ref is there to protect you, and Mario did not do that. This isn't a fight-distinguishing performance in the octagon. Another unfortunate thing is that I can't do anything about it. Only the Brazilian Commission can. And I'm hoping after this scary, incompetent showing, he hopefully will never set foot in the octagon again. Strikes landed was 230 to 3. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Mega Horbs, Rob, Mark, won't even know where he is. I hate they're gonna let Super Samoan Ali himself. Yeah, as Hamza Aman mentions, it took Priscilla Cachoeira tapped. Mario didn't see it. She tapped again, and then he stopped it. Yeah, it was completely incompetent. I thought he could have stopped the fight in the first round. It didn't seem like Cachoeira was going to do anything for it. But anyway, let's look at the odds for UFC 221. In the co-main event, Curtis Razor Blades is right now minus 155. Come back on Mark Hunt at plus 125. Tuivasa is a huge favorite. Jing Liang is a huge favorite, and Tyson Pedro is a pretty huge favorite. By huge, I meant like 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 for those odds. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to get out of here. We've talked for quite a while. I will be back next week for a pre-fight show and a post-fight show, at least for UFC 221, maybe during the main card portion to talk about that as well. But for now, if you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You can follow me on Twitter at FlyingBrianJ, on Facebook at FlyingBrianShow. And if you want to listen to these shows and you can't be here live every time, I do put them up on a podcast feed for MMA Mania. We are on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Player FM, anywhere you can get podcasts, you can get the MMA Mania podcast feed. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Shout outs to Rob, Hamza, Mega Horbs, Justin, Nicholas, if you're still around, Andrew Whitelaw, if I missed you, Dave W. If I missed you, I apologize. These guys were here live with me on the YouTube channel, and I appreciate them for being here. I'll see you guys next time. Namaste. Later, everybody. Have a nice evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.